Good morning, District 13 Toastmasters, and all of our guests out there watching the live stream on our District 13 YouTube page. Very excited to be back with you this weekend. We have our Division D contest today. Last weekend, we were lucky to see our Division C and Division A contest, and we move right along this weekend with Division D, and then ending tomorrow with the exciting Division B contest. And speaking of Division B, I'm lucky this weekend to be joined with two fellow commentators for this contest. And I'd like to introduce our Division B director, Jing Humphreys. Thanks for joining today, Jing.
Good morning, Bob, and thank you for having us. Yes, it's super exciting to see the Division D contest today in this way, YouTube streaming. Good.
No, absolutely. Very excited. And we'll hear some more from Jing in a little bit here once the contest gets started. And also joining us today, let's welcome Bob Walter.
Yes, good morning, Bob H. This is Bob Walter. Thank you for having me this morning.
No, absolutely. Thanks, Bob, for joining us. We're looking forward to this. Again, to everyone out in our live stream, we appreciate you joining us today. Very excited. Please keep in mind and bear with us. This is practice. We are working to put this together for the District 13 finals. That'll take place at our spring conference coming up in April, and that will be on April 10th, starting at 2 p.m. Just a quick little overview. It is March Madness, and it's March Madness here at Toastmasters. These contests started months ago at the club level, and our contestants have moved up through the club contest, through the bracket into the area contest. Once the area contests were completed, those winners have moved on to our division contests, as I said earlier, which have taken place last weekend and then end tomorrow with the Division B contest. So we're very excited today to be joined by our Division D director, Stephanie Scott, who will be the contest chair for today's District 13 Division B contest final. So we're very excited. So Jane, you know a little bit about planning these. I'm sure you're very busy and nervous today with your contest coming up tomorrow. You want to talk a little bit about how much time goes in behind the scenes to put one of these shows together?
Well, absolutely. It really does take a lot of time and a lot of resources to put together a contest like this. If you recall, we started with a club contest in early January and then the area contest since February. So I've been fortunate enough to have been involved either as an attendee or a host, a Zoom host on some of these contests. And it's really nice to see both behind the scenes and as an audience member to just enjoy. But it takes a whole Toastmasters community to put something like this together, starting with the people in the background and also, of course, the audience members who have made it exciting for us, and we want to put on a good show for them.
No, absolutely. And Bob, I know you were involved in some of the contests. I believe I saw you at maybe the club level this year. You want to talk a little bit about that experience?
Yeah, I've participated club, area, division, and district in table topics, international speech contest, humorous speech contest, as well as in the evaluation contest. And for the evaluation contest, I served as the evaluation contest chair. And like Jing was saying, it is a lot. There are a lot of moving parts when you get to a to the district level as far as organizing one of these contests.
No, that is. It definitely takes a village, as we've been saying. I have to say that we started way back in September with all of our division directors and myself as the program quality director for District 13, planning, putting this together. It was a scary experience at first. We had never done a virtual contest in District 13, so we had open seas in front of us and had to put together a plan, and it's come together very well. A lot of hard work from our club officers, area directors, division directors, and a lot of support from the district level. So very excited to see the success that we've had. And The format will be very similar today. We've tried to put together a consistent format of the contest from the club all the way up to the district finals. And today you will see a similar format with the table topics speech contest starting at probably within the next 5 minutes as they get ready. I see that they have some people coming back into the room. I also think that we will then have a break after the contestant interviews and move into the international speech contest following the break and then go into contestant interviews for that. So we're very excited to see this. And I think we're getting ready to start. Maybe we can head over to the room and see if they're getting ready to begin. I can see that they are taking some last minute preparations.
Is being live streamed as a test for the district contest that will be coming up in the very near future. So we have our program quality director. He is streaming live today, Bob Johnson. Can we say hello to Bob? Can we spotlight Bob? Look at Bob. Look at Bob. How exciting is that? Oh my goodness. Do I see Bob has company? What's going on there? Bob has company with Jing Humphreys, Division B Director, and Bob Walter. How awesome and exciting. Say hello, guys.
See if I could, last time I couldn't get in.
I'm sending this to someone. All right. We can't have a conversation with these wonderful folks, but they are here to let people know that we are about to start the Division D contest. So let's get this puppy started. All right, Anastasia. We have in the room our Zoom master, Anastasia Goldina. We have our chief judge, Dr. Elizabeth Carter, our sergeant at arms, Dana Smith, and we are ready to begin. Welcome, fellow Toastmasters, to the Division D Table Topics and International Speech Contest. I am your Division D Director, Stephanie Scott, and it is an honor and pleasure to serve as your Toastmaster and Contest Chair for today's contest. Please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Hold on one second. I am so challenged when it comes to technology. This is not even fun. Okay. Here we are. Please rise and join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to this republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, Toastmasters, we have a few housekeeping items that we need to mention. First, Toastmasters International asks us to read the following online speech contest statement. By attending this remote speech contest, you agree to the privacy policy of Toastmasters International, as well as unassociated remote hosting service. Some of your personal information, such as name, image, and any shared messages, may be shared with other meeting participants and will be recorded by Toastmasters International, who may use the recording in the future as it sees fit. Your remote attendance hereby discharges Toastmasters International from all claims, demands, rights, promises, and liabilities arising out of or in connection with the use or distribution of said video recordings, including but not limited to any claims for invasion of privacy, appropriation, or likeness or defamation. Madam Zoom Master, can you please record the contest? Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Second, to facilitate a smoothly run contest, please remain on mute during the contest. Turn off your cameras and use the speaker's view in Zoom. If you're curious, hopefully these diagrams will help you understand how to get that setting on your Zoom. The timer, Zoom Master, Contest Chair, Chief Judge, Sergeant at Arms, and contestants are the only Toastmasters who will be visible during the contest. At the end of each contest, however, you will have an opportunity to unmute yourselves and your videos to applaud and congratulate the contestants. The third item, please do not take photographs, video recordings, or screenshots during any of the contestant speeches. Video recording is allowed only for those people who have received advance permission from the contest chair. That would be me. Lastly, I have added the contest agenda to the chat, or else my Zoom Master has added the contest agenda to the chat. So if you'd like to print that out, please feel free. But I will briefly go over what we plan to do today at the contest. We will begin with the table topics contest, followed by contestant interviews and their certificates of participation. We will have an intermission before the International Speech Contest begins. I will then interview those contestants and provide them with their certificates of participation. We will then present the winners, thank the volunteers, and recognize the dignitaries. Many of you are probably asking yourself, why am I here at the crack of dawn on a Saturday morning? Well, it's not quite the crack of dawn, but it's early enough. We have gathered together this morning in furtherance of the Toastmasters International organization's mission to empower individuals to become more effective communicators and leaders. Speech contests are an important part of the Toastmasters educational program and of our mission. They provide an opportunity for Toastmasters to gain speaking experience, as well as an opportunity for other Toastmasters to learn by observing and listening to proficient speakers. Serving more than 364,000 members in over 16,200 clubs in 145 countries, Toastmasters is truly where leaders are made. This morning, we will begin with our table topics contest. The contestants have been briefed. Madam Chief Judge, have the contest officials been briefed?
Yes, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our contest. Our contest officials have been briefed. Let the contest begin.
Woohoo! That's exciting. The order of contestants. Let's first talk about what the procedures are for a table topics contest. All speakers will receive the same question with 1 to 2 minutes to respond. I will ask the speaker if they are ready to test, or if they are ready to test their video and audio. I will then ask them their name, read the question, again and say their name once more. So, name, question, question, name. All speakers other than contestant number 1 will be put into the contestants breakout room. There will be a minute of silence between each speaker. The timer will let me know when 1 minute has passed. After the final speaker, the judges will have as much time as they need to mark their ballots. So the order of contestants is as follows. Speaker number 1, Sharon Henderson. Speaker number 2, Renee Durham. Renee Durham, D-U-R-H-A-M. Speaker number 3, Crystal Edwards. And speaker number 4 is Byron Allen. Once more, the order of contestants is the following. Sharon Henderson, Renee Durham, Crystal Edwards, and Byron Allen. Madam Zoom Master, have the contestants 2 through 4 left the room?
Yes, they have.
Then let the contest begin with speaker number 1. Sharon Henderson. Sharon, can you see the timer?
Yes, I can.
Are you satisfied with your audio and video?
Yes, I am.
Are you ready to begin? Are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am. I was trying to pin the timer, but it unpinned for some reason. Go ahead.
Can you see the timer?
I can see the timer.
Okay. And you're ready to begin?
Okay.
All right. Contestant number 1, Sharon Henderson. Life is. Life is Sharon Henderson.
Good morning, Toastmasters. Good morning, Table Topic Master, and welcome guests. Life is incredible. Life is like a bowl of chocolate. Life is a bunch of lemons. If you notice, 2021 was supposed to be the year that we're going to have life. We're going to experience things. We weren't going to be locked up in the house. That was the bowl of chocolate. But now, if you look at it, life is lemons. But it's actually a bowl of lemons with chocolate because the vaccine is here and people are branching out and restaurants are opening. And I myself, thinking about what life is, are beginning to question how I, as a person, can begin to do things that I couldn't do in 2020. I began to look at life differently. And I said, this time, life is going to continue to be chocolate regardless of the circumstances. So ladies and gentlemen, Toastmasters and guests, life is and will be a bowl of chocolate. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Sharon. Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges.
Hello to our live stream out there. As you'll see throughout the contest, between each speaker, we will have a 1 minute moment of silence, and that is allowing all of our judges to complete their ballots. That allows them to make sure they have it completed. And then, just so you're prepared, at the end of the contest, after the last speaker, we will extend that moment of silence until all the ballots are completed and collected. So we will have a little more time to speak with you then. But just wanted to make sure you're aware so we know what's going on throughout the day as we go to each of these speakers and the bit of time that we have in between. We want to make sure that we definitely get the speakers to you, so we don't want to talk too long during a minute of silence, but also want to make sure that we do provide some commentary to you, because it can be a long extended period when you're just staring at a Zoom screen. Looks like we're getting pretty close, and our next speaker, Renee Durham, is preparing. So we'll go back to the contest room.
Contestant number 2.
Not here yet.
Renee Durham.
She hasn't joined yet.
Is there any way for you to bring her out, Anastasia? Dana's, the sergeant at arms, is having technical difficulties.
I will go to the.
Thank you.
Okay. Renee's here.
Welcome, Renee.
Hello.
Hi.
In the timer.
Can you see the timer?
Let's see, I'm trying to pin it. And it's not letting me.
That's okay. If you can see the timer, that's sufficient.
Okay, but I should be in speaker view?
No, just as long as you can see the timer.
Okay, I see the timer.
Okay. Your audio and video, satisfied with that?
Hold on, now the timer went away. Okay, there he is, okay.
Satisfied with your audio and video?
Yes,
Are you ready to begin?
yes.
Contestant number 2, Renee Durham. Life is. Renee Durham.
Life is what you make it. Every day you get a new opportunity to do life. Every day you wake up, you put your feet on the floor, new opportunity to do life. I try to approach life with a clean slate every day, leave the past behind me and get trucking moving forward. Even this morning, get up, get energized and be excited about the day because there are new possibilities every single day. You should keep your goals in front of you and every day work to make it happen. Life is what you make it. There's a saying that I absolutely love, and that is, did you get what you wanted out of life? Even so. The reason it ends with even so is because we all have things that happen in life. Stuff goes wrong. But did you get what you wanted out of life? Even so. And when I lay my head down, I want to be able to say, yes. When I look at my calendar, I want to say, yes, I like what I see on my calendar. I like the things that I'm doing. Did you get what you wanted out of life? Even so, things go wrong. Even so, you have teenagers. Even so, there's the pandemic. Yes, did you get what you wanted out of life? Even so. I think that life is what you make it. And every day I work to making it a great life. Being part of Toastmasters is a part of that, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Being part of Toastmasters helps me to achieve my dreams because I want to be able to speak with power and influence. I love the leadership skills that it teaches me. And I take that through life with me, every day getting a little bit better, every day a little more confident. Life is what you make it. Life is what you make it, even so.
Let's have 1 minute of silence for the
All right. Wow. 2 speakers already. Just as a reminder to our audience, when we have these table topics contests, only the contestant that is supposed to speak is in the contest room with the audience. So we have to segregate the other contestants away from them in a separate room because we don't want them to hear the topic. That's the whole point of table topics, is that you will be asked a question that you have no idea about. But I just love these topic that we have and the way the contestants are bringing their experience with their life and what they are going through right now, as all of us are going through life in this time of the pandemic and how we are all adapting to it. So I love this question and I can't wait to hear what the 2 other contestants have to say.
Our next contestant, Crystal Edwards. Is Crystal in the room?
Not yet.
Hello, Crystal.
Hello.
Hi. Have you pinned the timer?
I just did, yes.
All right. Are you satisfied with your audio and video?
I am.
Awesome. You ready to begin?
I am.
Contestant number 3, Crystal Edwards. Life is. Life is. Crystal Edwards.
Thank you, Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and most welcome guests. The first thing that came to my mind when you said life is like a box of chocolates. One of my favorite movies growing up has to be Forrest Gump. And I think that we all know the phrase, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get. And that has never been more true than this past year. There is no way that we could have prepared for a pandemic to take over, for us to be working remotely the way we are, for lives to be changed and lost how they have been. Life is genuinely and truly like a box of chocolates. Chocolates are one of my favorite candies. I have to say my favorite, actually, to be exact. And I love the differences that you get in a box of chocolates. You get the caramels, you get the coconuts, you get the peanut butter. And I don't really like the coconuts so much. The peanut butter and the caramel are a little bit more my flavor. But that's the same way life is. There are going to be some things that you really enjoy, that you look forward to. And then there's going to be some things that you have to take in stride. You got to just roll with the punches. Sometimes you're going to get those coconuts. And for me, COVID is a coconut. You have to roll with it. And when you get it, you can't just spit it back out. You can't put it back in the box. You just got to stomach it. So for me, that's what this past year has been. And in total, that's what my entire life has been. I've moved from Vegas to Texas to Pittsburgh to Atlanta and back to Pittsburgh and to Buffalo. So it's been all over the place. But I've learned to roll with the punches, enjoy the chocolates that I really like that life has given me, and stomach the ones that I may not have liked as much. Thank you, Madam Contest Chair.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has elapsed.
Contestants so far, and one more to go. I was thinking as they were speaking how hard it is when you first join Toastmasters to do table topics and how nerve-wracking it is. One of my colleagues is also with us on the phone today. He asked me the first table topics question I ever got. And I walked up to the front of the room and I totally blanked. I stood there, stammered, hemmed, and hawed, and really said nothing. Everybody politely applauded for me as I sat down, and I sat down and started thinking, okay, what could I have done better? And if he ever asks me that question again, I will have the best table topics response ever invented. So Steve, next time I'm ready for you.
One minute.
Thank you. Our fourth and final contestant. Can you see the timer?
Yes, I can.
Awesome. Are you ready to? Is your audio and video? Are you satisfied with your audio and video?
Yes, I am.
Are you ready to begin?
I believe that I am now ready. Yes.
Contestant number 4, Byron Allen. Life is Byron Allen.
Life is a lot of different things. Life is happy. Life is sad. Life is joyful. Life is sometimes scary. Thinking about what we've been going through for the last year, it's been pretty scary. Thinking about some of the things that we've had to encounter, it's been joyful with some of the jokes and family members we haven't seen in so many years that even though we hated using Zoom, and I hate not being in a room with every one of my fellow Toastmasters, I still know that I have joy in seeing those people online and seeing my family. Life is beautiful. Life is dangerous. We see so many things that are happening, so many things that could go wrong. But what we need to do, in my personal opinion, is look at what opportunities we have ahead of us. What do we have that we can think about that's great? Life can be whatever we want to make it, as long as we choose to do so intentionally and joyfully. So as I look back on my life, I know that my life has been great. I know that I have the people that I love around me. I know that I have my community around me. I know that I have everything that I truly need to succeed. So I'm thankful for life. Life is great. Thank you, Madam Contest Chair.
We will now have silence until the judges have completed their ballots and the chief judge lets us know that all ballots have been collected.
Wow, what an incredible job. And I have to say, as soon as I heard the question, I immediately thought life is like a box of chocolates. And I see that some of our contestants' minds went right to that Forrest Gump movie as well. But wow, incredible job there. And I just have to say, it's always amazing to see our District 13 Toastmasters in action, and they never cease to amaze me. And these contests have been a great opportunity to see that talent on display. And I'm glad that we're able to share it with everyone out there in our live stream. I have to say that, again, we will have a longer break here until all of the ballots are collected and allow our judges to go ahead and complete those ballots. The nice thing is on the live stream, you don't have to wait in silence. You get to hear myself, Jing, and Bob. So, Jing, what did you think of that first table topic? What came to your mind if you were the contestant?
Oh, I watched that Forrest Gump movie too, and the first thing that came to my mind was life is like a box of chocolates, because it truly is. You know, you never know what you're going to get unless you look at I mean, it doesn't come with a label like that box of chocolates that you buy that says it's cream over here, it's nuts over here. Life isn't like that. So, wonderful topic, and the contestants did very well. But Bob, I have a question for you, Bob Johnson. Wanted you to talk about your experience as a table topic contestant for our district.
Oh, wow. This always, I have to say, I'm a huge table topics fan. I was lucky enough to win the District 13 Table Topics Championship a few years back. Since then, I've decided to pursue leadership roles, obviously, within the district that doesn't allow me to compete in these contests, which is something some of our guests may not know, that once you're in certain district leadership roles, you're unable to participate in the contest. But I have to tell you that the contest was the reason I decided to get into leadership. That was the first moment that I stepped outside of the club. I had not been to any other events, and somehow at the time I came in second at my club contest, and we were able to send two members from our club on to the area contest. And when I went to the area contest, I'll never forget just finally seeing everyone. This is way before Zoom, meeting everyone and getting to, see how a contest ran beyond the club level. And I just fell in love with the organization even more. It made me want to do things. But I made it all the way to the district finals. And I'll never forget that when it was my turn to go on stage, Denise Etter was the contest Toastmaster, contest chair at the time. And she had a box of crayons and she held it up, and I don't even know if I heard the question. I blanked. I didn't know what was going on. It threw me off. I have, as Bob knows, you practice anything that you think could be asked. You go through every table topic at your contest or at your club to prepare for the contest. And when that box of crayons come out, I was like, what is she doing? Am I supposed to take a and I went blank. And then I finally, when she, as you see, they read the question a second time, I finally heard that she was asking, Crayola is coming out with a new color of crayon for you. What would the color be? And I somehow embarrassed myself on stage to start and went with Bobby Blue Eyes. And all this stuff came to my mind, and I was thinking about people that have given me that nickname in the past because I have blue eyes, and it was what a wonderful thing. The only thing that is tough now is that nickname sticks throughout District 13 sometimes, and people always like to remind me of that day. But one of the best events I had, I'll never forget. I ran out to the car right away, took a picture of my trophy, sent it to my boss, and that was how that evening went. But yeah, it was awesome. Really, really good time. And I remember sitting in the physical room. Now we're in a Zoom breakout room, but I was the last to go, I believe. And I remember sitting in there and I was seeing all of these incredible speakers that have been around. And I was a newer Toastmaster at the time. And I'll never forget that individual moment when I was sitting in that room by myself and I'm thinking, I don't have a shot with the people that just went out there to go, and to win that contest was just something I'll cherish forever.
It sounds like life threw a box of chocolates at you that night, Bob.
Well, it certainly threw a box of crayons at me. I can say that.
A box of crayons. That's wonderful.
So, Bob, what about you? So you were talking earlier about your journeys. Any That was a great story you told about your first table topic, but any memorable contest at any, area, division, or level contest?
Yes. So for table topics at the district level, I was probably the sixth speaker out of seven. And so we were in the outside room, a room outside of the big convention hall. And it was fun watching all of the other contestants as they went through their pre-game warm-ups, all different styles. There was the woman who was pacing back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. There was a young woman who was a dancer, and she would just spend her time stretching and relaxing. There was a guy who was off in the corner mumbling to himself. And my particular technique for me was to sit as calmly as possible and spread my body as widely and comfortably as I could, and just observe and just breathe slowly.
Well, it looks like our ballots have been collected. So our chief judge and ballot counters will be heading out, and we'll head out because it looks like Stephanie will be starting the interviews here shortly.
Officials room. We would like our contestants to turn on their videos. We'd like to get a group picture of our table topics contestants. So, Madam Zoom Master, can we make that happen?
Just a second.
The answer is yes. She's amazing. She's going to make this happen. She just needs a little time, just like I needed a little time to get that PowerPoint presentation up and working.
Thank you, Madam Countess Chair.
Absolutely.
Smile. Great. You're all welcome.
If you want to unmute yourselves, audience, and give these fantastic participants a round of applause, I invite you to do so now.
Woohoo! Nice, very nice.
I am so excited to have you guys here. And now it's time to present you with your certificate of participation. We are going to go in alphabetical order. Thus, we will start with, give me 1 second.
Alan.
We're starting with Byron. Byron Allen. Let's welcome Byron to the stage.
All right.
Byron, welcome to the stage. Woo. Let me share. You know, Byron, I miss those two screens working at BNY Mellon. I'm just saying. Life is challenging with one screen. Life is challenging.
I understand.
So, Byron, tell us which club you are here representing and how many years you've been in Toastmasters.
I am representing the Great Lift Every Voice Club. I have been a member of Toastmasters maybe about 4 or 5 years, but on and off. Toastmasters has done me some great justice. So I'm grateful to be here.
What's the first thing that brought you to Toastmasters? Why did you join in the beginning?
I actually joined to be better at managing meetings. So I wanted to be able to run a meeting, control a meeting at my job. And then I also wanted to be able to think on my feet. And that's why I get involved in table topics so much. That's my main focus.
Very nice. Well, your bio has demonstrated that you've done a lot of community work, a lot of work in the diversity area, and also some work for your university. Why don't you tell us a little bit? And I saw that you also went to Central Catholic.
Yeah. Yes. The Viking. Yes.
Which is exciting. I went to Winchester, so that's fun. But tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing in the community.
My main focus now has been, we actually just started up a partnership with the Community College of Allegheny County and the University of Pittsburgh and African American Alumni Council, which I'm on the board of. I'm also on the board of directors for the national PAA overall for the University of Pittsburgh. And a lot of my work has been focused on how we can support equity and social justice. I'm on that community writing up, working with a great team who's writing up ways to create equity for all of the people and the university, students, alumni, and staff. And we want to focus on getting funds, generating funds to be able to help students matriculate through the university at a steady pace. It's a lot to pay for school. There's a lot going on in terms of a lot of the activities that are happening all around the community right now and around the globe. So we want to create a good environment for all of our students, all of our staff, and all of our alumni to be able to feel comfortable and supported at the university. So I'm doing that for my community. I came from Homewood, and that's a big thing for me to be able to make sure that the university stays connected with the city and a lot of people who are underprivileged as being a part of that community that is sometimes overlooked. I feel that it's necessary that we should do our part to make sure that we don't leave anyone behind and we support where necessary.
Well, Byron, we definitely appreciate your efforts of giving back to the community. And you've always just been a great stand-up guy. And I'm just happy that you're here competing and happy that I have had the opportunity to know you. So thank you, my friend, for competing. And thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Our next participant of certificate of participation will be given to Renee Durham. Let's welcome Renee. Hi, Renee.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm well.
So which club are you representing today and how many years have you been in Toastmasters?
So we have Emily Harris on our team, and she always says we're the rock stars of Bakery Square. So I'll go with that. That's our club, the Rock Stars of Bakery Square. And I have been there since it was chartered, since October of 2019.
Yes, I remember when you first walked in the door, we were just so excited to have you. You had no idea what we had in store for you. Renee, you served as president last year of Bakery Square, and it just sounds like you guys are doing good things, continuing to do good things. In terms of your Toastmasters experience, what has been the most meaningful part of that experience for you?
I don't know if it's the most meaningful, but one of the most meaningful things is the leadership and the leadership skills. And the thing that comes to mind is recently went with my mother to a funeral, and just when COVID was starting, so maybe it's not so recently now, but when COVID was starting, so we could still gather together. So it was a room of probably 100 people or so. And this was a friend of my parents who was the deceased. So when they did open the mic and, wanted people to come up and speak, he really moved. And immediately I just thought, well, I can get up and say something, even though he wasn't my friend, but I do remember him from a child. And so the ability to just be the first person up and make that motion so that everyone else would then, I broke the ice. So I really appreciated that. And I don't know that 2 years ago would I have done that, would I have felt comfortable enough to be the first one up in a room that, I'm just here accompanying someone else. I'm not really a part of this. But to have the confidence to get up there and to break the ice for the room and give a story from my memory of someone from when I was probably between 5 and 10 years old, to ease pain that was happening in the room and to bring a little bit of levity and those kind of things. So I would say that that is really all due to Toastmasters. And so it's leadership, but it's not just leadership in a business setting. It's not just leadership at work. It is a confidence to lead in general. And I really appreciate that about what Toastmasters has brought to my life.
Well, that's really exciting. Thank you, Renee. And tell us a little about the Homewood Children's Village.
Homewood Children's Village is an organization very much like the Harlem Children's Zone. And what it does is it's primarily focused on academic support. It has a cradle to career pipeline of services. And so it's not only the Homewood Children's Village that executes all services. We definitely have partnerships that plug into different places along the pipeline. But it's a cradle to career model based on the Harlem Children's Zone, and it's based out of Homewood. So it's been around for about 10 years. We've celebrated our 10-year anniversary, and it's just going strong. It's done very well, even during the most recent trying times. So we've opened learning hubs throughout Homewood. There are 4 now, just to continue to support students in this academic challenging kind of area. But I don't do direct service. I'm the controller at the Homewood Children's Village.
Well, you work for a very exciting organization, so I wanted you to have the opportunity to share.
Yeah.
And thank you, Renee, for coming today and participating in the contest. We really, really appreciate your participation. So
I need another E on my name, though.
Huh?
I need another E at the end of Renee.
Yes, you do, and I know better than that.
Yeah.
So when I send the hard copy, you'll get that E corrected. I know better than that, Renee. I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you. And our next contestant that we will welcome to the stage is Crystal Edwards. Hello, Crystal.
Hello, Stephanie.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
Good. So tell us what club you're here representing and how many years you've been in Toastmasters.
I am representing the Culturally Speaking Toastmasters Club, and I've been a Toastmaster for about 1.5 years now.
Nice. Very nice. And in that experience, what's been the most meaningful for you in Toastmasters?
I think the most meaningful thing has been the relationships I've been able to build, the friendships that I've been able to make. When I first started at Culturally Speaking, they operate, even though they're an open club, they operate out of the BNY Mellon building. So I started Toastmasters when I first started working at the company. And so it was a way for me to meet some coworkers and make some new friends. And I thought that was a great opportunity.
Very nice. Very nice. So you said your inspiration is your 2-year-old. Talk to me about that just a little bit.
Yes, my son Camden, he inspires me to not only just work harder and push harder so that I can provide a better life for him, but just seeing how fast he learns and how independent he is. He wants to do everything himself. He always wants to learn something new. He's only 2 and he can already count to 12 in Spanish. He can count to 100 in English. He knows all his colors and shapes. And I'm like, if a 2-year-old can do that, then I can do anything.
That sounds very, very exciting. And he's going to keep you challenged.
He'll definitely keep me on my toes and keep me moving for sure.
Thank you, Crystal, for joining us today. We really appreciate your participation.
Thank you so much for having me.
And last but not least, we have Sharon Henderson to welcome to the stage.
Thank you.
Hello, Sharon.
Hey,
How are you?
pretty good.
Very
Doing well.
good. So, what club are you representing today, and how many years have you been a part of Toastmasters?
I am representing Talk Tons, and I've been in Toastmasters this April, 2 years.
Nice, very nice. And of that Toastmasters experience, what's been most meaningful to you?
I would say the officer's position, having a little bit of power and influence with not only people that have been in Toastmasters in that group for a while, but also being effective with others outside of Toastmasters, talking to them about skills and then introducing them to Toastmasters.
Very nice. As far as your future in terms of Toastmasters, what do you see for you?
Well, let me be a little honest. When I first started Toastmasters, it wasn't about Toastmasters. I needed the skill sets that Toastmasters storyteller. I want to be a great storyteller, one of those ones that draw you in and make you feel like you're living inside that story. That's what I did. When I first came to the open house for Talk Tons, I was like, okay, sign me up. I'm ready to go because I'm ready to start telling kids stories and making them alive. But as I started getting into Toastmaster, I saw it was a lot more than that. I can still reach that goal to be a master storyteller, but also who are the things or who are the people around you you're going to bring along with you to help them. I mean, people have talked to me about presentation skills. They have talked to me about this. So I got to the point where I started looking at area director. And I'll tell you a short story. I got an email that said you were nominated for area director. I was barely VP of education. I was so honored because in my career, I don't get those opportunities. And to see a big organization that's international want me to be an area director, obviously I didn't get chosen. But that's okay. I'm not bitter. But it made me think that maybe if someone saw that in me and sent that email, even if it was by mistake, then maybe that is the direction I need to go from a Toastmaster perspective. I mean, that's something I'm still thinking about.
Yes, ma'am. And I can tell you for sure it was not a mistake. So let's just take that off the table.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
No doubt about it. Well,
Okay.
Thank you, Sharon, for participating today. It's been a pleasure and a joy. And I'm glad we had this chance to have a conversation and also to see you participate. I like that.
Yeah.
I have never participated in a speech contest, which is so hard to believe for so many people, but I definitely give you, all of you, a round of applause for standing up and participating because it's not necessarily easy. So round of applause for our contestants. We will now enter into a break. Let's return back here at 11 o'clock.
Well, this was a great contest, and I'm so happy to be a part of it. And I want to join the other viewers in the Zoom room now for the International Speech Contest. So thank you for having me and this great opportunity, and I'll see you at the next contest.
And Bob Johnson, thank you very much for having me today. I'll see you tomorrow for the Division B contest.
Absolutely. Thanks, Bob, and thanks, Jing. We appreciate you helping out this morning and look forward to seeing you soon. We are actually now taking a 5-minute break, as you heard from Stephanie, and that allows that allows us to get things ready here for the second contest, which is the international speech contest. So feel free out in our live stream to stretch, grab a bite, get some water, coffee, refills on your beverage, and take a quick little break. As Stephanie said, we'll resume right at 11 a.m. sharp. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break, allow everyone to relax, stretch, take care of everything, and see you back in a few minutes for the international speech contest. Thank you. Well, hello to all our viewers out there on the District 13 YouTube live stream. I'm very excited. We're getting back to the contest here in a few minutes as the break ends, but I did want to introduce our district director, Patty Thor. Patty is joining us here. Hi, Patty. Do you want to say a few words before we
Hi,
head back to the
everyone.
contest?
Sounds like the contest is about ready to begin. So welcome to the Division D contest, and thank you for coming. You're going to learn so much more about Toastmasters than you knew was possible.
Thank you,
Have a
Patty.
great
We
day.
look forward to talking to you during the next breaks, and we'll head back over to the contest so we don't miss anything with the speaker order.
And are ready to go for our second contest. Yes? All right. Welcome again, everyone, to the second part of our contest, which is the International Speech Contest. It is the only contest in Toastmasters International that goes all the way to the international stage. As you may have seen in some of the slides that we showed during the intermission, we highlighted the international speech champions from 2010 to 2020. And although we don't like the champion from 2020, we had to recognize the wreckage that Corona did for our contestants last year. But now we have the opportunity to move forward, and we are happy to do that. Thank you for attending, and thank you for coming back. We are now ready to begin our international speech contest. Just a few reminders, which I'm sure everyone has already have. They already have their video cameras off and they're muted. And speaker view is a great view during this particular contest. Table topics as well, but especially this contest, because you want to see these speakers and you want to hear these speeches. Again, taking photographs and screenshots during the contest is not permitted, but there will be plenty of opportunities for screenshots directly after the contest. The contestants have been briefed. Madam Chief Judge, have all of the contest officials been briefed?
Madam Contest Master, the officials have been briefed and ready to go. Let the contest begin.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, Dr. Carter. The procedure for the International Speech Contest will be the following. All speakers will remain in the contest room during their 5 to 7 minute speeches. They will be asked if they are ready after testing their video and audio. I will then say the speaker's name, read the speech title again, and say the speaker's name. So, name, speech title, name. There will be 1 minute of silence between each speech for the judges to mark their ballots, and the timer will let me know when that time has elapsed. After the final speaker, the judges have as much time as they need to mark their ballots. Now let's begin with the order of contestants. The order of contestants for the International Speech Contest is the following. Stuart Strickland. Contestant number 2 is Debbie Slocum. Contestant number 3 is Juan Eduardo Lingo. Contestant number 4, Jody Ann Thomas. And contestant number 5 is Carolyn Glass. Again, the order of contestants, one more time, will be for contestant number 1, Stuart Strickland. Contestant number 2, Debbie Slocum. Contestant number 3, Juan Eduardo Lingo. Contestant number 4, Jody Ann Thomas. And contestant number 5 will be Carolyn Glass. Let's welcome contestant number 1.
Good morning.
Stuart Strickland. How are you, Stuart?
I'm doing well. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you see the timer?
I can.
And it sounds like your audio and video are good. Are you satisfied with your audio and video?
Yes,
Are you ready to begin?
I am.
Stuart Strickland. Matter and antimatter. Matter and antimatter. Stuart Strickland.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters, dignitaries, and honored guests. Think back to grade school, 5th grade science class, maybe. You learned about matter and what makes up matter. Matter is made up of molecules, made up of atoms, which are in turn made up of positive protons and negative electrons. Remember all that? Are you also familiar with the concept in particle physics known as antimatter? Antimatter works the same way as regular matter does, except that the electrons and protons have their charges reversed. The protons are negative and electrons are positive. Within this world, everything works the same. An antimatter hydrogen is a negative proton, a positive electron. Two of them and an antimatter oxygen make antimatter water, which boils and freezes the same way regular matter water does. But when matter and antimatter meet, every atom, every particle annihilates its opposite in an enormous explosion. Now, take that concept of the hard science of physics and apply it to the soft science of sociology. Where we've gotten to in the United States today is the creation of an antimatter universe. We have the matter people and we have the antimatter people. Each has its own newspapers, social media, cable channels, political realities, and increasingly their own concepts of reality itself. The sun may rise in the east and water flows downhill in both worlds, but beyond that, they don't have much in common. This situation has made it nigh impossible to have any meaningful discourse about any topic of substance. Anytime the two sides try to interact, you get an enormous explosion. This situation's untenable and doesn't solve anything. Whatever happened to human kindness? What you think and believe has a great deal to do with where you get your news. These news sources polarize us because they themselves are polarized. If you don't want to be polarized yourself, to be able to recognize whatever polarization exists, you have to step outside whatever media you love and instead look for objective evidence, demonstrable facts, peer-reviewed research, and sworn testimony that withstands scrutiny. You somehow have to train yourself not to be triggered by triggering subject matter. I won't mention any triggering matter here because specifics are not my point, at least not yet. We do somehow have to get along though. It's not about the election. It's not about politics. It's not about how you get your news or the news cycle. It's deeper than that. It's about humanity, how we view others, how we treat others, how or even whether we help others. Every major religious system teaches this. To Christians, it even transcends belief systems. To Christians, it's love thy neighbors, you love yourself. The Jewish concept of tikkun olam supports benefiting the community at large, among other things. The South African concept of Ubuntu states, if I am to be great, you have to be great. Even to the non-religious, the words of Abraham Lincoln, with malice toward none, with charity for all, fits right in. In short, I think we can all agree that one does not stand tall merely because someone else is down their hands and knees. So how do we get there? How do we conquer this war between matter and antimatter? The answer is easy. The getting there will be much more difficult. The easy part, in our universe, we only have matter. In human terms, in human terms, that means the antimatter people are going to have to change their minds. This isn't about disagreeing over who is right or wrong, or merely agreeing to disagree. Disagreement infers that what the antimatter folks hold to be true has value in a just society about what matters. These fundamental differences go beyond simple things like what sort of music you like, what NHL team you think might go on to win the Stanley Cup, or whether you prefer Pepsi or Coke. They go beyond differing ideas on how to solve difficult problems like water pollution, homelessness. And though there's room for multiple approaches, this goes beyond that. The fundamental issues here, the matter versus antimatter issues, are ones which only one side can prevail. In this universe, there can only be matter. Black lives do matter. LGBTQ lives do matter. Immigrants' lives do matter. Keeping families intact does matter. Healthcare as a human right matters more than healthcare as a privilege to those with money. Women's rights do matter, including control over their own bodies. Clean air, clean water do matter. Global climate change does matter. Being able to practice one's faith, or go to work, or go shopping, or to a concert, or a movie, or having a burned out taillight without being shot does matter. Those of you who identify with antimatter, you may have more guns and ammunition. You may own bigger trucks. You may flaunt your holy books louder than everybody else. You may consider yourself in dire opposition to these things that matter in a just society. But you're wrong. You're in a cult. You may need help getting out of that cult. But unlike physical antimatter particles, you can change. The rest of you have the more difficult problem. You have a more difficult job to do. You too have to change. You have to keep them in your lives, not shun them. But in doing that, you also have to make clear that you will not tolerate their hate. Both of you have to relearn how to be kind. It may all come down to who has more ammunition, whether made of guns or words, to annihilate the rest of us. But for all your trucks and flags and parades and guns and churches, it doesn't matter. You're fighting a war you cannot win. On these items of humanity that matter, there's no changing our minds. You have to change yours. At least stop fighting about it. Madam Contest Chair.
Please, let's have 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots.
Well, hello again. And as we did earlier in the table topics, we'll try to communicate with you during these moments of silence between each speaker. We're excited again to have our district director, Patty Thor, with us. And Patty, can you tell us about the new exciting initiative across District 13?
I can, Bob, and I'm so excited to tell everyone about it because think about what you've been hearing from the interviews from these contestants, how much of an impact it has made in their lives. Who do you know? Who do you know that could use that kind of growth? Let me ask you this. Who do you know that couldn't use that kind of growth? Invite everyone else to Toastmasters. So our initiative is each one, bring one. Can you bring one person to your next Toastmaster meeting? Can you bring a new person into your club or another club throughout the world so that they can grow and they can have these kinds of experiences like Renee had at the funeral of her family member? She was able to bring comfort because of Toastmasters.
I can see everything. Yes, I can.
Are you satisfied with your audio and visual? Video.
Yes, I am. Thank you.
Are you ready to begin?
Yes, I am.
Contestant number 2, Debbie Slocum. What a year it was. What a year it was, Debbie Slocum.
Now I know you're probably saying to yourself, who is that attractive woman? Well, I'll tell you in a minute. Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guest, I am a baby boomer. Take a good look. Yep, I'm a baby boomer. I'm part of the generation that was born between 1946 and 1964. Those were some great years. We were children of the good times. Our parents had just gone through World War II, some of them the Depression. We were the good time kids. Our parents moved to the suburbs. And we were that generation. Yes, I dare say it. We were that generation that went outside, boom, 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 and played. We actually opened the door and went outside and played. We had a good time. Now, we did come in to watch that newfangled thing called television. Okay. We were a little naive because we kind of believed that we could survive a nuclear attack by sitting under our desk with our hands over our head. Little naive, but we were good kids. And we also knew about vaccines. This isn't our first go around. There was a horrible disease called polio, and we lined up and we took our vaccine on a little sugar cube. Better than the 2 shots I just got in my arm. All right. But during those years, there was a very nasty war brewing, and it would be known as the Vietnam War. And it's said to have been the first televised war. The war brought demonstrations. It brought marches, a lot of social upheaval. But that wasn't the only upheaval that was going on. There was a civil rights movement and women's rights movements. People marched, they demonstrated. Some had fire hoses set on them. Some had dogs set on them. Some were beaten. Some were jailed. And some died. So we could enjoy the freedoms that we do today. All right. But let's not forget, we were also the Woodstock generation. And we were the hippies. We were sex, drugs, and rock and roll. Yeah. All right. I was maybe one of those. Maybe 2 of those. Let's just say maybe 3 of those. It was a good time. We had discos, drive-ins, transistor radios, Motown, and Soul Train. Our generation was the best educated, and we enjoyed a better lifestyle than our parents. We grew up. I started working for TWA, Trans World Airlines. I saw the world, all 50 states and 32 countries. It was wonderful. As I grew older, music changed, hairstyles changed, clothing styles changed, and technology took over, leaving my princess phone and my transistor in the dust. But what years they were. We got married. We had children. Divorce rates skyrocketed. And we became our parents' keepers. We also had other plagues that came along. We had drug addiction, AIDS, and even right now, we have an addiction. We have a plague that is sweeping us, which is known as dementia. Our world changed September 1st, 2001 in the United States. I'm sorry, September 11th, 2001 in the United States. It would never be the same for us again. But just when I thought I had seen everything, along comes 2020, COVID-19. A pandemic would not just affect the United States, but the whole world. Sanitizing, mask wearing, working from home, and hoping for a vaccine became the new normal. What a year it was. And once again, technology came to the rescue. It allowed us to hold this contest, for many of us to work at home, and it gave us a vaccine. There was an election that was during the pandemic that was unprecedented. And once again, we saw people marching, women, young folks, all colors. And they were marching and demonstrating for civil rights, reminding people that all lives matter. 2020 kicked me around a little bit. It bruised me a lot, but I'm a baby boomer and I'm still here. Thank you, Madam Chairperson.
Thank you. Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has elapsed.
Wow, Patty, I love that. Each one bring one. What a great way to focus on growing our membership throughout the remainder of the year. Speaking of that, our clubs are getting to the fourth quarter where they really need to push hard to finish the year strong. Do you have any tips, advice, or tools that the clubs can utilize?
Oh boy, do we have tips and advice and tools? Go to the District 13 website, d13tm.com. That's d13tm.com, and look at resources, club officers. There are lots of resources there. One of them, Bob, is 40 guests in 4 minutes. What that is, it just helps you to brainstorm. Who do you know? Without any criteria of whether you think they'd join, whether you think they'd like it, just list 40 people. And it gives you some prompts to help you come up with those names. Then once you get those list of names, then you start to invite them. It's not your job to determine whether they want to come or want to join or anything like that. It's just your job to reach out and give them the opportunity. So thank you, Bob, for that opportunity.
Welcome, Juan. Can you see the timer?
I can see the timer. Thank you, Stephanie.
Are you satisfied with your audio and video?
I can hear myself well, but what about you? Can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine.
I'm glad.
Awesome. Are you ready to begin?
I am ready.
Contestant number 3, Juan Eduardo Lingo. Everyone can be a leader. Everyone can be a leader. Juan Eduardo Lingo.
Madam Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, all of you, everyone can be a leader. 14 years ago, I served for a mission for my church back then. In preparation for this, my church leader had to fill in some application form. He was my Bishop Trevino. We knew each other very well because we have been involved in many activities before. And that is why one of the things he said about me in that form was a surprise. We sat one night in his office to review the application, and he read, "How would you rate this candidate as a leader?" He looked at me and paused for a moment. I stood still. Then he came back to the form and read and wrote, "Juan has a very high leadership potential." He looked at me and smiled. I was only 18. I was shy. I was introverted. I barely talked to anyone. And up to that point in my life, honestly, I never thought of myself as being leadership material. A few months into my mission, though, and I proved myself wrong. I became a missionary leader. And I finally got why Bishop Trevino said that about me. Not because I was a leader, but because as a leader, and as I developed the relationship with other missionaries that I led, I realized they could become great leaders too. I am telling you, everyone can be a leader. If you still find it hard to believe, let's try this. I want you to think about something that you are passionate about. Think about a hobby, caring for the environment, your community, public speaking. Now, think about one time that you shared that with someone else. Did you notice any change in others after what you shared? If you did, then you had a successful leadership experience. That is what leaders do. A leader is that who inspires his or her passion onto others. And you know, everyone has something that moves them. When I came back from my mission, I continued studying electrical engineering. But what really moved me was video game development, to such an extent that I went to search for more people with similar interests and together founded a video game creators club. And it was great. We had the chance to network with people from the gaming industry in Monterrey, Mexico. Other times, we organized classes to coach students in their game development projects. And of course, we had lots of parties. We made good friendships. We learned a lot. But you know, one thing that we didn't do in this Game Creators Club? We didn't actually create any video game. As funny, as embarrassing as that sounds, that club to me is a lesson on how a strong sense of purpose, regardless of the cause, has the power to bring people together and makes the cause transcend beyond the individual. However, if everyone is a leader and if leaders are not careful, that same drive might actually bring people apart. When I was a kid, we used to gather for Christmas with my Uncle Mundo's family. And I remember this Christmas Eve, I was trying to have fun with my 2 sisters and 3 cousins in the living room. But fun was continuously being interrupted by a war that was raging in the kitchen. My mom and my aunt were trying to keep the conversation civil between my dad and my uncle, who were in a heated debate on transcendental issues. My dad began saying something like, "Last year, we had a turkey inside a bag, and we cooked it that way. It was delicious. We should do the same thing this year." To which my Uncle Mundo replied, "You did what? You know that the family tradition is to cook the turkey uncovered, and put it inside the oven, and then bathe it in its juices every 20 minutes. Oh, and tell me, Mundo, who exactly is gonna bathe the turkey every 20 minutes? If you insist that all of us have to stage half the Bible for the whole Christmas story." "Oh, come on, Juan. Maybe if you cared as much for Christmas as you obviously do for food, you will know that is not an issue." "Oh, trust me, Mundo, I know that will not be an issue because we're putting the turkey inside a bag." And they could keep the argument going back and forth for the whole night. My grandma, their mom, used to say that they discuss because both of them are great leaders. But these two leaders never realized that the one thing they had to do to get along with each other was to bite their tongue, swallow their pride, and let the other guy lead for one night. Many leaders might be confusing, but in the end, it's worth it. Because considering everyone's perspective is the best way to fully leverage the potential of all the leaders, which are everyone. It might mean, though, that, as my dad and uncle had to learn, sometimes somebody else is going to lead. But that is okay. That way, you get to experience what I personally think is one of the most fulfilling parts of leadership, which is to step aside and watch the cause continue without you. After I finished college, the Game Creators Club that I founded was left in the hands of others and continued without me. And after I finished my mission, the missionaries that I once led became missionary leaders themselves. Not because of my leadership, but because on their own, they became aware of the great potential they have for leadership. The same way that I realized I could become a leader, just as Bishop Trevino said that about me. And the same way that I say now to all of you, that everyone can be a leader. Madam Contest Chair.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots.
All right. Well, Patty, you were telling us about some of the tips and tools out there. Is there anything else you wanted to add before we went back?
There are just so many tips on the D13 Club Resources website, d13tm.com, and look at the resources page for club officers. And I just encourage each of you to change lives. Each one, bring one. Man, that would just, you are so fulfilled by watching these people grow and change. For example, Renee Durham, she's part of a club. She spoke in the Table Topics contest. She's part of a club, Bakery Square Club, that was formed when I was club growth director. That was just something that I made a cold call to somebody in Bakery Square. Christina Keener and I talked about it at the Division C contest 2 years ago. And then we had lots of people come in and help. Emily Harris helped, and Sonia McCoy, Stephanie Scott. We had so many people come in and help, and Jackie Collier brought that club into fruition, and now it's changed lives. This is just fantastic. So remember, each one, bring one. So Bob, what have you found to work really well in bringing new members?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things we'll talk about when we come back from the contest is some of the groundwork we laid early in the year to help our clubs out. And I'm very excited to kind of review and see how we can pull them in here towards the end and go towards our goal. Well, let's head back to the contest. Looks like
One life, many choices. Jody Ann Thomas.
Do you recall the first time you saw an escalator? Yes, an escalator, the moving set of staircases. I had just disembarked the airplane at Miami International Airport. I slowly made my way through custom, around the bend, and ahead of me was 2 to 3 flights of glistening escalators. As I took in the glass and silver, a boy dashed from behind me, and right behind him was another boy. I watched in awe as they ran towards the escalator. To my surprise, they decided to go up the downward escalator. I was taken aback. I watched in awe as they trekked. And a minute later, one boy is at the top and another is in the middle. And he's going and he's trying, and the momentum just won't allow him to make it to the top. His friend is laughing hysterically at this point, and I'm just in awe. About 20 seconds later, he counts his losses. He turns around and make his way down. Madame Contest Chair, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, going up the downward escalator may not be your adventure, but we have one life and many choices. When faced with challenges, let's consider the escalator. Do you choose to go up the downward escalator in terms of an adventure? Do you choose the traditional path, going up the regular escalator? Or will you be like my mother, who asks, where is the elevator? Because she's not a fan of the escalator. We have one life, but many choices. The choice you make really depends on what you want. And I encourage you to make choices, but in that choice, choose happiness. Because what works for me or my mother did not work for those boys. They wanted to go up the downward escalator. Let's think about a choice we've all had to make at some point. You found yourself on the job market, you've gone through the interview process, and you now have that job. You've landed it. What are you going to choose? There are some location choices that the HR person walks you through. First, there are two options. You can stay in the location you've interviewed and enjoy the comforts, or you could be moved to the headquarters in New York. You pause and you think about this for a minute. New York is a city you had considered right after college, but it didn't work out for you. And now here's another opportunity. As you're pondering these ideas, the HR person calls again to say there's a new location within view. It's in Hong Kong. The primary location is English, and relocation will be covered. Wow, this is interesting. You've never thought about Hong Kong, but this could be an adventure. As you think through these ideas, what do you decide? For me personally, what I decide will depend on what stage of my life I'm in. 20-year-old Jody, who's just out of college and booming with energy, would choose New York. Head office, big city, that is her location. She wants to find more experience. She wants the exposure, but at the same time, she'll be in the same time zone as her family, and therefore it's only a call away and getting home is a breeze. For 25-year-old Jody, she would choose Hong Kong. She had spent time in the workplace. She started to value international experience. And so flying away would not be a challenge. She'd be gone in a minute. Right now, at the phase I am in my life, personally, I'm staying local. I've packed enough bags. I've unpacked too many boxes, and I'm enjoying the privilege of being local. I want one day my children to come home to the place they have lived in for many years and celebrate holidays. And so I'm starting to set down those roots. I'm thinking in my own little life, all three options would work for me. So can you imagine for yourself and all your circumstances, which option you would choose? I recommend you choose happiness. Which choice would make you happiest. The boys who went up the downward escalator had great joy. While that doesn't rock my boat, I know each decision I choose in life gives me great joy. Madam Contest Chair.
Please allow 1 minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballots. Madam Timer, please let me know when 1 minute has elapsed.
Patty, I remember early in the year as we were training our leaders, we talked about our big three and really putting together our club success plans, tracking those on our distinguished club programs, and really putting together a plan for our clubs to achieve their goals for the year. Which brings up a good point as I think about that and over the break. We have a lot of great incentives, and the big three is one of the incentives. And I think as we look through here, that it's that time of year where clubs need to, revisit those incentives and see which ones they're, tracking towards. So I don't know if you want to maybe the next few breaks, we could talk about a little bit of the incentives that the district has offered.
That would be great, Bob. There are so many fantastic incentives. There's incentives for both the clubs and individual members. Then there's incentives for the area directors and the division directors. There are so many things that you can earn prizes for, get recognition for. It's just fantastic that we have the opportunity to grow and get recognized. I mean, when's the last time at your job you got recognized for doing a good job? It doesn't happen all that often. So at Toastmasters, we love to give recognition. We love to applaud our members. In fact, when you get introduced, you get every meeting, you get a round of applause, and it's just fantastic. So it helps you to grow and grow in confidence. That's fantastic, Bob.
Glass. Pain and purpose. Pain and purpose. Carolyn Glass.
It was an insufferable year for most of us. A global pandemic, economic despair, loved ones dying alone in hospitals, Black people being murdered before our eyes on television, democracy in crisis, humanity in crisis. Although our immediate family was spared the horrors of COVID, we were not untouched by the deep grief that engulfed that year. For late in 2020, we lost both of our parents within just a few weeks of each other. The death of our parents, Reverend Robert and Jeannie Gretz, wasn't just a loss for our own family, but for the community at large, for our parents were beloved all over the world. We lost a beacon of light, a couple of deep conscience that spread love everywhere they went. My parents met in college in Ohio. Mama from a farm in Pennsylvania, where she routinely stood up to bullies from the time she was a little girl. And Daddy from West Virginia, who became a champion of race relations after doing research that opened his eyes to the plight of Black people in America. They spent their early married lives in Watts, California, where Daddy was serving in an all-Black church as a part of his seminary training. 2 years and 2 children later, he accepted his first call as a Lutheran minister at a Black church in Montgomery, Alabama, in the heart of Dixie in the summer of 1955. Now, church leaders, knowing of Daddy's passion for justice, made Daddy promise he would not go down south and start any trouble. Now, Daddy kept his promise, declaring later, he didn't start the trouble, he just joined it. For less than 6 months after their arrival, my parents were immersed in the civil rights movement after their dear friend and neighbor, Mrs. Rosa Parks, refused to give up her seat on a city bus, sparking the Montgomery bus boycott. Daddy became the only white leader of the boycott, working closely with Dr. Martin Luther King and other civil rights leaders. My parents became known by the white establishment as race traitors, and their lives were constantly in danger. But my parents walked their talk. The threats and violence against them and their children did nothing to deter them from doing the right thing. Amongst the harrowing phone calls they used to receive were ones like, "Do you know where your fair-haired children are? I can see them now, playing outside in the yard." The threats escalated into violence, and the summer after the boycott began, the KKK bombed my family's house, thankfully when no one was home. Mama created special games for the children, like their favorite called Hide, when they would dash as fast as they could go and jump behind the big soft couch in the living room that would hopefully keep them safe from flying glass and debris in case of another bombing. And there was another bombing, this time much worse than the first. For shortly after the boycott ended, just after Mama had returned home from the hospital with her fourth newborn baby, in the middle of the night, the Klan went rioting again, armed with bombs. And this time they meant business. For the bomb they threw at my parents' home was made up of 11 sticks of dynamite wrapped around a container of TNT, powerful enough to level the entire neighborhood. The bombers threw the bomb at the house, but miraculously, it didn't explode. So the would-be mass murderers circled back around the neighborhood and they threw a second bomb at the house, trying to detonate the first. Now, that second bomb did cause considerable damage to the front of the house, but miraculously, that mega bomb still didn't go off, and my family was safely asleep in the back of the house. God obviously had other plans for my parents, for they went on after that night to live for an additional 65 more years, continuing their fight against oppression in all of its ugly forms. King Jr., injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. When faced with that kind of violence, my parents refused to hate. They saw everyone as God's children and worthy of love. Now, how many of us, if faced with that kind of hatred, would have chosen to put our own lives on the line for others, selflessly, truly standing for justice? Now, many have questioned why they would have put their own children's lives on the line during those tumultuous years, but not one of their 7 children would agree. Yes, we all faced our fair share of trauma during our young lives, but we came away with the gifts of resilience and, most importantly, a deep understanding and empathy and need to truly care about others. Now, I, for one, I'm very thankful that that mega bomb didn't go off in 1957, for if it had, I would never have been born and I wouldn't be standing before you today. And now it's up to me during these difficult times, and all of us who care about decency and justice and fairness, to help pass along the legacy of my parents and all the others who fought for justice. We must continue to shine a light in the darkness and help create a world my parents would be proud of, one of hope and justice and love. We can do this. Madam Contest Chair.
May we now have silence until the Chief Judge announces that all the ballots have been collected.
As we talked about earlier during the table topics contest, we will have an extended break now as the judges complete their ballots and all the ballots are collected. So Patty, one of the things we were talking about during table topics is sharing some of our experience what are some of the experiences that you've had during your Toastmasters career with contests? Because I mean, I'm sure people out there watching are like, this could be pretty scary.
Boy, I tell you, Bob, it can be scary as it is. But the fun thing is, and the wonderful thing is that you step out into it anyway, and you have people around you who support you and love on you, no matter how badly you do. And I can tell you that my first contest that I stepped out in, I got up there and went to speak, and I froze. I couldn't think of anything. I tried if you forget your speech, you pause, you back up a little bit, and my pause was getting really long that I could see the audience getting uncomfortable. Somebody moved in the audience in such a way that it triggered the rest of my speech. I went on to finish my speech, and when I was done, I thought, that was the worst speech in the world. I couldn't have done any worse. But afterwards, people came up to me and they said, "Hey, Patty, I really liked this part of your speech. That meant a lot to me. Patty, wow, when you said this, I laughed so hard. It just was hysterical. Patty, wow, you really encouraged me. Even when you forgot your speech, you stayed up there, you kept going, you kept your poise. I don't know that I could have done that." And I come away from that speech thinking it was the worst speech in the world, realizing, wow, not only, yeah, I did do some things well, but I got so much confidence that if I ever forgot my speech, it was okay. I was still going to get love. I mean, let's face it, if you're at work and you forget your speech or your presentation, you may not get so much love from the boss, right? But you can come into Toastmasters and you can practice that, get those nerves out here. Now, let me tell you about another speech I was in where I was the example speaker. And I gave the speech, and I forgot it. I backed up, did all that. And all of a sudden, out of my mouth came, "Okay, so what's the next part?" I was doing an acronym. "What's the second E stand for?" And the audience members started spitting out words. And I was, "Oh, that's a good chance. That's a good one." I still didn't hear my word to trigger my memory. But then somebody said something that triggered the memory, and I went on to explain, "It's encourage. We encourage one another." And afterwards, people came up to me and said, "Did you forget that on purpose? Because it sure seemed like you knew what you were doing." So Toastmasters gave me those skills to be able to recover. Wouldn't you like those for at work or in any situation that you find yourself? It's just fantastic. Thanks, Bob.
Wow, no, absolutely. Great stories, Patty. And that's what we do here. And we're seeing those skills on display today with some of the top speakers across Division D. Very well done from all of our speakers. And thank you for sharing that experience. Well, it is, as we said, starting to ramp up towards the end of the Toastmasters year. And we have so many exciting things going on across District 13. A lot of reminders to get out there for our members that are watching on the live stream. One of the things that we need to express is that dues are due. And our club growth director, John Sinclair, if he was here, would definitely be reciting that mantra, as we do need to make sure that our dues are up to date, reinstated by March 31st. Patty, what about the free path? I know that's another thing that's really important that we want to make sure that no one misses out on.
That's right. Any of you who did a re-up during the fall, if you got the free path, you have to select that path by March 31st. Now, once you select that path, you still have 30 days you can exchange it, but you've got to select it by March 31st, and that date is coming up very soon. So please don't lose your free path. And if you're not sure, to ask some other Toastmasters. There are plenty of choices to choose from. Step out into something that maybe you never thought of. I chose engaging humor as my free path, Bob. How about you? What did you choose?
I actually chose dynamic leadership, and I'm very excited. And it looks like we are getting ready to head back to the contest because Our Division D director is getting ready for the contestant interviews. So we'll go ahead and head back to the room.
Please shine your smiles.
If you'd like to unmute yourself so you can give these worthy contestants a round of applause, please do so now. Woo! Yay. Yes. Thank you. I thank all of you for competing today. Very excited to do the contestant interviews. I do believe I have the certificates of participation to give to you, and they are in alphabetical order. One moment. Our first contestant that I'd like to interview will be Carolyn Glass. Let's welcome Carolyn.
Hi, Stephanie.
It's coming, I promise. Let's get this certificate up so we can give this to you virtually. So, Carolyn, quite the speech. Tell us, what club are you representing?
I am representing Lift Every Voice Toastmasters.
Awesome. And how long have you been in Toastmasters?
I've been in Toastmasters for 9 years now, going on my 9th year.
Yes. And what would you say would be one of your most memorable Toastmasters experiences?
Wow. The most memorable Toastmaster experience. That's a hard one. I guess it would have to be just the opportunity to start our new club that we started a few years ago. I think we're going on our 2nd year of chartering, but we've been in existence for 4+ years now. And that experience has been absolutely amazing. We have an awesome club. And we started off with the notion of trying to get more diverse voices involved with Toastmasters. And I can say I am so proud of our division, because you see all the incredible diversity that's in this competition today. It's just unbelievable. I'm so excited.
Very nice, Carolyn. And talk to us a little bit about the naming of your club. I know from my youth, my mother made me learn the Black national anthem. Absolutely. Just so that I would know that it exists. And I don't know that many people actually do know that it exists. But talk to me about what you were thinking in terms of you and Bev when you started the club, what that means for the club.
Yes, we definitely were thinking about the Black national anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing. But our whole notion of starting this club in the first place was to try to lift the voices of all kinds of diverse people who hadn't been heard as much in our district. And so when we're searching for names, this one just really rang out. And you were the one who helped get us over the threshold of getting our charter. And Beverly and I were both out of town, if you recall, when the charter paperwork had to be filed. And so you offered to file it for us. And you had nothing to do with the exact date on which it was filed, but by the time you sent the paperwork in and the people at the national office put the mark on the date that it was chartered, our Lift Every Voice Toastmasters Club ended up being chartered on Juneteenth of that year. which is awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, so we
Wow.
celebrate 17th and our charter every year. So it's pretty awesome.
Yes. I am very excited for you and your speech. And thank you, Carolyn, for participating in it. It's my pleasure to present you with the certificate of participation.
Thank you very much, Stephanie.
Our next contestant, Juan Eduardo Lingo. Juan, are you there?
Yes, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
That's great.
Tell us what club you're representing and how long you've been in Toastmasters.
Of course, I'm representing the Bakery Square Toastmasters Club. I've been in that club ever since it was chartered on October 1st, 2019, I think.
Very nice.
It's almost a year and a half.
Very nice. And what would you consider your most meaningful Toastmasters experience?
Well, as a fact, I think that would be the preparation I had to do for this contest. It's funny because at first I thought, well, if I'm a firm believer that if you want to get results, you need something that is kind of pulling you other than your own will pushing you towards it, right? So you can try, so both approaches tried, but it's better to have both. So I chose to participate in a contest to pull myself into being a better public speaker. And at first I was just toying with it. I wasn't actually, I didn't actually thought I was going to go over the first round. but that allowed me to practice a different set of skills that I wasn't aware that were part of public speaking, as in not only preparing a speech, but practicing, editing it, receiving a lot of feedback, allowing, understanding how to apply feedback you get from others, and also leaving parts of your speech out as it improves. So these are things that I didn't really think much about when I thought about preparing a speech, and this experience has given all of it to me. So it certainly has been memorable.
Juan, we are so happy that you competed. And you've been in Toastmasters just a year and a half, and you're here competing in an international speech contest. That's exciting stuff.
That's crazy, I know. I'm very excited and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here.
So on your profile, you said it's always better to speak to not speak in absolutes. Tell us a little bit about that.
I will correct you, actually.
Yes, please, because I can't read my own handwriting.
It is almost always better not to speak in absolutes.
Got it.
That is another way of saying that you need to find balance in everything that you do and in everything that you say. If you tend to exaggerate to one extreme or the other, you are not thinking in all the different perspectives that can evaluate what you are trying to say. And I try to remind myself of being conscious of those different perspectives that I might not be aware of
True.
Every time that I say or explain something, almost every time.
Very nice. Thank you, Juan. It is my pleasure to
too.
present you with this certificate of participation, and thank you for participating.
Thank you for having me here.
Our next contestant is Deb Slocum, our baby boomer. Where are you, Deb? Deb.
I'm coming. I'm a baby boomer. It takes me time. It takes me some time.
It's okay.
It takes me
is
time.
okay.
Here we go.
Now you want to talk about somebody, I'm happy to. I remember when your club first chartered.
12 years.
I remember like it was yesterday.
12 years ago, April 24th.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so first of all, tell us what club you're representing and how
Help.
long you've been in Toastmasters.
Helps on Smithfield, helping everyone learn public speaking. People always ask me what helps me. I've been a Toastmaster for 12 years. I was a charter member, actually sponsor to get the club off the ground.
Yes, ma'am, you were. Exciting stuff too.
Yes.
So what is the major, the major takeaway that you have from your Toastmasters experience? You've been in 12 years.
It's just meeting all the different kinds of people that come through the club. We are a small club, but we are creative. We are warm. We are friendly. I sound like a pet, but no, we are a lot. We are a lot of things to a lot of people. We have seen our members go on and do fantastic things, not only in Toastmasters, but just in life. Being a part of that has really just, I give my all for my club. I hope everybody knows that. But I think that we are a good small club. And I love that about Toastmasters. I love meeting all the different kinds of people. And even though, as horrible as COVID is, it really got us new members. We have members in Georgia, and we have a member and two members in Florida. And so we have expanded our worldview. And we even have a member from McKeesport, and that didn't happen before. Pretty much people stayed in their own clubs, in their own areas. So that has been exciting.
I agree with you with that. I do, 100%. That is an exciting thing. Let's see. So if you had to recommend, I see that you're an avid reader.
Yes.
And that if COVID had not taken place, you'd be doing plays and concerts.
Yes.
So if you had to recommend something for us to read as we're still hibernating, waiting for the vaccine to, take its course, what would you recommend?
I have been reading, out of my genre, a lot of mysteries. I'm not that type. I'm usually more historical biographies, but I'm reading all these silly little mysteries. I'm getting involved in mystery writing myself.
Oh.
So,
all right.
The next book I will recommend will be mine. So, but any kind of mystery right now, because it just fascinates me right now. Just never was a genre I was interested in. And anything that you pick up, just read something. I don't care if it's a back of a cereal box. Read something. You can learn something from it. That's my advice.
Okay. Thank you, Deb. And
Thank
I appreciate you competing in the contest. And it is my pleasure to provide you with your certificate of participation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Stuart Strickland, you are next on the stage, my friend. How are you, Stu?
I am doing fine. Thank you.
Great. What club are you representing today, and how many years have you been in Toastmasters?
I am representing Northside Toastmasters, where I am a charter member.
Awesome. How many years?
I started with Toastmasters in 2008, and I'm actually a member of 3 clubs. So I started with Dawn Patrol back in 2008. Later on, I joined The Next Step because I got my CC and I needed to go on to The Next Step. But now I guess you could say I'm a Toastaholic. My name is Stu, and I'm a Toastaholic.
We like it, Stu. We like it. Okay.
Yeah,
so if you had to tell us what your most memorable Toastmasters experience has been, what would that be for you?
In 2015, 2016, I was an area director. I was actually affiliated with Area 31, which included, among others, Culturally Speaking. So I'm familiar with that club. And I got to go to like a half dozen different clubs in the space of a typical month. So I learned a lot about how other clubs worked, and being able to put half a dozen clubs side by side allowed me to see, okay, what's this club doing that that club isn't? How could this other club pick up an idea that I was carrying from others? So I was kind of a pollinator of ideas in other clubs. And I think it helped everybody and helped me become a better Toastmaster as well.
Fantastic. That's great to hear. Well, Stu, I know that you're an avid biker, and I know that you've been a competitor for a very, very long time in Toastmasters. I mean, you step up and you compete in the contest. So what is it that makes you continue to compete? What is it that keeps you motivated to do that?
Public speaking is a perishable skill. If you get out of practice, you lose it. By staying in Toastmasters, I keep that skill honed. And when I started with Toastmasters, I mentioned this before, my first icebreaker was literally reading off a sheet of paper in front of the lectern. That's the only thing I knew how to do. I had done radio for a long time. I read to the blind. Anyone remembers Radio Information Service, but I was a reader there for over 10 years. But that's all I knew how to do, was just sit in a room with a microphone and a sheet of paper in front of me and read. And I think I do that well, but get me in front of an audience, I lost it. I could not function. By getting in front of an audience all the time, I think I have improved that skill. I didn't have a skill before. I couldn't improve it. But staying in front of an audience is something you have to keep relearning, I think.
Thank you, Stu. It is my pleasure to present you with this certificate of participation, and thank you once again for participating in our contest.
Thank you.
And finally, Jody Thomas.
Hi, Stephanie. How are you?
Welcome, Jody. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Tell me what club you're representing today and how many years you've been in Toastmasters.
So I am representing Culturally Speaking Toastmasters that's hosted downtown in the BNY building pre-COVID. And I've been a Toastmaster for over 10 years. I think I stopped counting after 10.
Wow. You can't stop counting after 10.
Well, I'll get to 20 and then I'll tell you.
Listen, you can't. No. Can't do that. There are 10 plusers in this audience. You're in good company, my friend. You're in good company. So tell me what your most memorable Toastmasters experience has been.
Well, interestingly, I grew up in the Caribbean and I competed in the District 81, which is the entire Caribbean contest back in 2010. So 11 years ago. And we flew to St. Lucia. So that was probably a very good experience because most times when you do contests, you stay local. But being in the Caribbean, it did give me that opportunity to visit another country as part of the experience.
Nice, very nice. So, food. Don't know whether you know this or not, but yeah, love food, passionate about food. So tell me, since you have this love of cooking, what would you recommend as a meal that I try?
It depends on what you're interested in and what time of the day we're talking about. But if you're talking,
would you like me to give you some specifics to narrow this down?
Sure.
Let's do dinner. No fish.
Okay. Well understood. So as a Jamaican, I'll take you out and I'll brand our dishes. So rice and peas is rice with red kidney beans. That is a must-have with coconut milk. I'd highly recommend. And then in terms of a protein choice, I'd recommend brown stewed oxtail or curried goat. And then, of course, you have to have sauteed cabbage or some other vegetable on the side. So that's probably my recommendation for you if you haven't tried it already.
Well, you know, Jody, that might result in a phone call. Just don't be surprised if I call you.
Okay, no problem.
I may need to know how to put that together. I'm just saying.
Okay.
It is my pleasure to present you with your certificate of participation for participating and being a part of today's contest. Thank you for competing.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie.
Thank you. Let's give our contestants another round of applause.
Woo!
Yes, we can take ourselves off mute and really let them have it. Yay.
Fabulous contest.
Well done.
Great
Great
job,
contest.
all contestants. Juan, is your family here?
They are watching in live stream.
Oh, in the live stream. Great.
Yes.
From all the way from Central America.
Yeah, all the way from Mexico, Monterrey, Mexico. And from Guadalajara. My wife's family is watching as well.
Nice.
And from Chihuahua. That's another part of Mexico that they live separately.
Oh, that's so awesome, Juan. We are so happy to hear that. All right. Well, I mean, you know, we've been sitting around competing. It's time for us to know, what is the deal? Just want to ask my my presenter if she is ready.
Yes, I am ready, Stephanie, and I'm going to pull up the slides.
All right. Madam Chief Judge, it is time. Fellow audience members, it is time. Now, just so you know, the contest winners will move on. First and second place winners will move on to the district competition. And we will be cheering you on at the district competition on April 10th at 2:00. Now, I know I had the district conference slide up. It did not have the time of the contest, but I'm pretty sure that it will be 2:00 that the speech contest will begin.
Okay.
You will receive information about the contest. All right? Okay. Were there any disqualifications for time, Madam Chief Judge?
Madam Contest Master, there were no timing disqualifications in either contest. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Okay,
So now, this is where the real fun begins, guys. So, the winners, we will begin with the table topics contest. The winners of the Division D table topic contest, starting with the third place contestant is Byron Allen. Let's give Byron a round of applause.
Yay.
Yay.
Byron, say hello so we can get that picture.
Hey, how are you? Can you see me?
Good. Yes.
All right.
Now it's time for contestant number 2 in the table topics contest, who will be moving on to the district contest. And that person in second place is Crystal Edwards. Yay! Say hello, Crystal, so we can get that picture.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. And last but not least, the first place winner of the Division D table topics contest is Renee. Yes!
Congratulations, Renee.
Way to go, Renee.
Say hello, Renee, so we can get that picture.
Congratulations.
You rock star.
Hey, it's good that she was able to buy a vowel for her.
All right, Thank you, Table Topics participants and winners. We really appreciate you coming out this morning. And now it's time for us to move on to the International Speech Contest. I just want everyone to pay close attention to the award. That first place award is the legit deal. Our administrative manager was so kind as to send us the actual picture of the award, and they are beautiful. So I just wanted to make sure that you know that's coming to you. All right. Now for the International Speech Contest. The winners of the International Speech Contest, starting with the third place winner. In third place is Jody and Thomas. Say hello, Jody, so we can get that picture.
Hey, hello.
And now we will announce our second place contestant in the International Division D International Speech Contest, and that is Carolyn Glass. Say hello, Carolyn, so we can get that picture.
Hello.
Carolyn, you will be moving on to the District 13 contest, and we are so very happy and so pleased for you.
Thank
and
you.
last, but certainly not least, drum roll for our first place contestant,
Wow.
Congratulations, Juan.
I'm crying.
Hard to believe.
Congratulations, all contestants.
Yes.
Well, surprise, 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 my friend.
Thanks, everyone. It's hard to say anything. I'm so excited. Thank you for sharing this moment with me.
Yes, we are very excited, Juan, and you will be moving to the district contest. So thank you, everyone. I have said over and over, ever since November, we've been talking about this forever. It does indeed truly take a village to do a speech contest. A village. You have so many people that have to come together to assist, and I couldn't do it without all of you. Obviously, we know that I can't name my judges or my ballot counters, but you are so close to my heart, and I do appreciate you coming out and taking part and helping out with the contest. All of you know from my heart, I thank you deeply. My chief judge, rocking the house. I really, really appreciate that, Dr. Carter, being there, making sure everything gets done, and also taking a little bit of the load off of my plate. I appreciate it, and I thank you immensely for doing everything that you've done.
Happy to serve, always. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Heather and Cassie, thank you for the timing and rocking that very well. Obviously, there were no technical difficulties you had to worry about, so that made everything easy breezy. And Cassie, also thank you for sharing the slides. I really do appreciate you taking that part up for me. Anastasia, couldn't have done it without you. And thank you for your guidance. Thank you for your willingness to help out. Thank you for volunteering back when this was just a club contest and you didn't know who the heck I was.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
I appreciate you and I appreciate your help. And Dana had to leave early, but I thank her also for serving as the sergeant at arms. It takes a village, people. It really does. And you guys just rocked it today, and I could not have done it without you. So I really appreciate everything that you've done. And last but not least, have to thank, obviously, we spent a lot of time thanking the contestants, but I'm going to thank you again because without you, we wouldn't have had a contest. And also those who came to support them, those folks who came out to support the contestants, whether you're in the Zoom room or you're outside of the Zoom room, our hearts are full because you are here. And I thank you, audience members, wholeheartedly. Division D, you rocked it today, and I appreciate you. Now, we always have to give a little spotlight to our dignitaries. My pleasure to recognize Patty. Are you here? I know you are.
Yay.
Hello, Patty. Thank you, Patty. And there's Bob, Mr. Bob Johnson, the commentator, the MC of events. You have been rocking the house, my friend, with all of these live streamings. Tell us how you've been and how it's going.
Leaders like the leaders we have. And I got to say, you and your fellow division directors have done an incredible job. Kudos to you and your team. Wonderful execution today. Really enjoyed sitting back and enjoying the speeches, even though I'm on the spot here using my table topic skills to practice on the commentary impromptu on the YouTube live stream. But wonderful, wonderful day. It's always exciting to spend time with our District 13 members to get to see them display and showcase their talents and to see flawless execution that we've been working on since September for these contests makes me proud, and that makes life good. Back to you, Madam Contest Chair.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And our club growth director is here somewhere. John Sinclair, would you like to say a few words?
I am here, and thank you very much, Madam Contest Chair and Division D Director. Stephanie, such a wonderful job. Another flawless speech contest. Congratulations to all the contestants. You're all winners, as I like to say. Volunteers, again, another great display of cross-district volunteerism here in this speech contest. I really, really want to thank you too, Stephanie, for those informational slides doing the major breaks about the incentives and keeping those alive and in the forefront of people's minds. And really, really, really want to applaud you for reminding us all about that D word. I'm not going to say the word, but keeping that D word also important and reminding people that it's time. So back to you, Madam Contest Chair.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you. Jackie Collier, Public Relations Manager, I see that you are in the house as well. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, ma'am. Contest Chair and Division Director Stephanie Scott. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful contest. Congratulations to all of the participants and especially to the winners. I am looking forward to seeing you at the district contest. And as well, I'd just like to say another ditto to what John said. Those slides were amazing and kept everything in the forefront of our minds. So thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. Marcy.
Hi, everyone. What a wonderful contest. I was on the edge of my seat to see who was going to move on to the district contest. Contestants, great job. It was really fabulous. I had a wonderful time just observing the contest today, which is a real treat for me. And thanks to all of the volunteers that made this happen. Great job, Division D. Great job.
Thank you, Marcy. Jing, I don't know if you're still here, but I know you were in the house. And you might not be, but it's okay. We know you were here with us earlier, and we really appreciate you showing up. Carol Snyder, would you like to say a few words?
Yes. Hi, everyone. I just want to say my contest was last weekend, and I'm so glad it's over because I really got to watch these other contests and really take everything in. And our contest in District 13 rock. And there's another one tomorrow. So if you haven't had enough division contests, Jing's contest will be coming up tomorrow.
Absolutely. Thank you, Carol. Dana was here earlier, Kim Santillo, Emily Harris, Cassie, Isabel, Elizabeth, my team. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate you being here. And that is it for our list of dignitaries. I just want to say, in closing out the contest, you guys are the ones who make it amazing. Every person that has either watched, participated, or played a role in making this contest happen, you are what makes this organization just an amazing, amazing place. And I am honored. And like I said, it was my pleasure to be your contest Toastmaster and chair today. So that, my friends, is it. You have a fantastic, phenomenal, wonderful day.
Wow, what a wonderful job from our Division D team today. Congratulations to all of our contestants. Loved hearing the speeches, and it was a wonderful day of many, many good table topics, incredible international speeches. I want to send a few special thanks out in addition to Stephanie and her team, who we talked about earlier. Wow. Thank you all again. But I also want to definitely thank each of our commentators that stopped by today. Bob Walter, Jing Humphreys, Patty, our district director, Patty Thor. Also behind the scenes, our logistics manager, Steve Sokolowski, who did an incredible job with this whole process. And yes, a huge round of applause to Steve. It's been fun. I want to remind everyone that we will be on the same YouTube channel tomorrow for our final division contest. So please share and make sure that everyone has the live stream. We love seeing the number of people that joined us from all over the globe today. They could enjoy the contest. So tomorrow at 1 p.m., we will be having our Division B district contest final. So Division B contest tomorrow, 1 p.m. Share the link, tune in, and look forward to hearing from our friend Jing, who was with us earlier, and her team putting on our last division contest ahead to the District 13 finals. Again, as we started with, this is March Madness for Toastmasters. It's been awesome seeing everyone move through the brackets, and we look forward to finishing up this bracket for the division level tomorrow. Thank all of you for your time. Have a wonderful Saturday afternoon, and we will see you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Steve.